thank you so much again for doing this. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Thank you. This is going to be fun.
Awesome. Yeah. So our podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now. I don't know if you mind talking about Korn a bit, but we'll also talk about Love and Death and the new music you have coming out with that as well.
Okay, cool.
Sweet.
Sounds good.
Awesome. So I know that Korn formed in Bakersfield. Is that where you're originally from? Born and raised there?
So we all grew up in Bakersfield. I met Jonathan Davis, a singer. He was in 3rd grade. I was in 4th. Okay. And I met Philby, the bass player, in 7th grade. I met Monkey, the other guitar player, in 9th grade. I met David, the drummer, in sophomore.
Wow.
10th grade. So we're all just kids, man.
Sure.
You know, I didn't know Jonathan because 4th graders didn't hang out with 3rd graders, and
Of course not.
We weren't real tight, and I think we would have been so tight because his dad owned a music store, Rick Davis Music.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, and I was a front porch music guy, which was down, about 10 minutes away from that, and so I don't know. I would have just been at his dad's shop every day, playing music and whatnot. Sure. But I mean, it wasn't meant to be, I guess, till later.
Yeah. Wow. Well, how did you get into music?
I got into music from my parents.
Awesome.
They don't play. They can't sing a note in key, but they would just they liked music. They would listen to Bob Seger. They would listen to Anne Murray. And then they got a little edgy one year and they started listening to Queen, The Game.
Oh, there you go.
Another One Bites the Dust, and that record. And so I remember they got an 8-track tape, which is a big box that you put in a big opening, and then it played music. It was 4 CDs and cassettes. And I just remember hearing the power of Queen's music. And I also had some neighbors that were blasting Kiss too. And I would I was made for loving you, baby. That song and whatnot. And so I was like, what is that? It was a sound that I was drawn to, And so I asked them, and then 1980, my parents got me AC/DC, who I see behind you on the board. Coachella.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Are they playing this year?
No, this is I forgot, maybe 2016 poster.
Oh, who signed it? Did anybody sign it?
Yeah, I got a bunch of people. I worked for a radio station for 15 years. So I have a few of these. I'm moving, so all of our stuff is in storage, but I wanted to put something behind me so it wasn't just like a green wall. But this one's got I don't know, Interpol, Hosier, Alt J signed it, a bunch of random smaller acts, Cascade. But yeah, that was a year that Jack White headlined the second day, and then Drake was on the Sunday.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So AC/DC Back in Black album, I opened it that Christmas morning, and I heard Back in Black, and I was just like, something just hit me. And I'm 10 years old, and I'm just and I'm playing it all day long for months and months and months, over and over. Then I find Iron Maiden, then I find Ozzy, and then I find Judas Priest. I hit it was the UK, whatever, the British invasion, into the metal British invasion in my life. And I got into the LA bands, Motley Crue and Rat. So that was it,
Really? That's awesome. Well, what was the first instrument you learned? Was it guitar?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to play drums, but my dad talked me out of it because, kids are lazy. So he was like, drums have so many pieces and parts that you have to carry. And I'm like, oh, I don't want to do that.
You don't want to lug all that equipment around?
And he's thinking he didn't want to hear the noise.
That's what I was going to say. I said, was he like, I don't really want to hear you banging around on these things, so I'm going to convince you not to get drums.
What is it, reverse psychology?
Yeah, reverse psychology.
It worked.
That's funny. So then you got a guitar.
Then I got a guitar, I got acoustic.
Okay.
And they got me a cheap little thing, and I was like, instantly, I want a guitar like AC/DC. I want an amp. I want that sound. I need that sound. And they're like, you can't even play. Like, we're not getting you that. And learn something first on the acoustic. So I took lessons, I learned, and they were like, wow, he's really, you know, I was dedicated, playing it all the time. And the next thing you know, I had a little tiny amp, like a distortion pedal, and a cheap old guitar, a little cheap guitar. The amp was like that big, you know, just tiny.
Oh yeah, the little practice amps.
So I started from the bottom. Now I'm here.
That's awesome. So with that, when you got that guitar, how old were you when you got the electric?
I mean, I think I was still 10, like later in the year.
Okay.
So I advanced pretty quick, and it was a thing where all these little cheesy, like Mary Had a Little Lamb and little tiny chords I was doing, they saw me like doing it, and I was like, see, I can play it. Now can I have electric? Sure. So I just bugged them so much. It was my birth. So I'm guessing Christmas, got the AC/DC record and a guitar shortly after that. My birthday's in June. I'm guessing I got the electric in June.
Oh, right on. Okay. And well, with that, like, were you just learning, you know, AC/DC records and trying to learn those bands that you were looking up to, or did you start trying to write your own songs?
Just only learning other songs. That was it. Because I had no idea how to write, but I remember trying to learn AC/DC with I remember when I didn't even know chords, I would hold it and I would go on the E string to the D string to the A string. I would go dun, 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 dun. And I wouldn't put my fingers on any frets. I would just do the rhythm when I heard it. It wasn't the right notes, obviously, but like, and then once I started learning the chords, that was it, you know.
It all came together.
Like, oh, this isn't like real hard, I thought to myself, you know, because I can kind of play it a little sloppy. So it's like, I just have to get better, you know, but I had the basics down.
Sure. And when did you start playing with people? Like, what was the first band you kind of joined or formed?
It was with Fieldy.
Oh, really?
Korn, and a guy named Ron French, and John Charles is a drummer. And me and Fieldy, it was a band called Pierced with a T. Okay. It was like the glam rock and stuff. There were pierced earrings.
Yeah. Pierced. That's cool. And then did you guys play, like, were you in middle school at that point or high school at that point?
High school. Yeah, we were 15. And then then that band like played one show, broke up, and then we started another band called Ragtime. And our flyer was like our singer with a girl kneeled down in front of him. And my mom saw it and freaked out. She's, what is this? Sure. Then another flyer said Ragtime. It was a picture of us, and it said, it's that time of the month.
Oh man. I didn't put that together, Ragtime. Oh my God.
So my mom hated, she really had it. Oh, she went off. And then after that band, that broke up after one show. And then some of the members of that band formed a band called, no, that was it. I'm sorry. I was thinking a band called Toy, but Toy broke up and we formed a Ragtime. That was it. Just those two bands when I was a kid.
Okay. And what was that first show like? Did you guys play like a house party, or was it did you have like a proper show, like a venue in Bakersfield?
I played 3 shows from my childhood years till I was 18. 3 shows.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
One was like a keg party.
Okay.
One was a school. I forget if it was a talent show or just a concert at the school, at Fieldy School, Highland High School. I remember it like it was yesterday. Wow. And the other one was just like a club. It was a tiny little club that we opened for another band. That's cool. So that was it, man. 3, but we rehearsed all those years, hundreds and hundreds of times. And we on Thursday nights, we'd get Night Train and maybe a 40 ounce and just like 16 years old and play music but all those rehearsals, we only performed 3 times in our whole, like 3 years, like one show a year.
That's crazy. I bet you that high school show was probably the most intimidating one, right? I mean, you're in front of all your peers, and if that's kind of, you're being the most vulnerable to all the people that you know, and kids are, mean, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude, we watch it back. Oh my gosh, it's the funniest thing ever. It's
Oh,
like,
you have tape of it?
yes. And
Oh, that's awesome.
our hair's like this big. And it's like, man, I mean, we didn't even like bands like Poison. We would see them on MTV every day. We didn't. I liked Rat because Rat had some good, very good talent. You know, like Warren DeMartini was a shredder, but the glam look. All the girls liked the glam look, so we went with that.
Sure.
And like but the music, and yes, our music was pretty bubblegum actually. So I'll just quit while I'm ahead.
Well, you said you didn't really start playing shows until you're 18. Is that when Korn formed, or what was the next band that you joined or started that actually, started playing more shows?
So we formed one more band actually that I forgot about when we were like 18, 19 years old. It was called Russian Roulette.
Okay.
And so Monkey came into the picture then.
Okay.
We were playing, but the thing was, that was when like Whitesnake was really big on MTV and bands like that, and so Monkey and Fieldy, they met another guy who was more into the punk realm, and he introduced them to Red Hot Chili Peppers and Faith No More.
Okay.
And they got like obsessed with them, and I didn't like them, and so they quit Russian Roulette and they left me. And they formed a band with the singer from the other band, Ragtime. And everybody turned to like alternative punk, and from glam rock to alternative punk. It was like, this is it. I didn't get it. I didn't like the Chili Peppers. The guy couldn't sing. I love the bass. The bass was good, but
sure.
Anthony Kiedis was just like annoying to me. And so off they went, man. They moved to LA and started playing Hollywood clubs.
Whoa.
And then my band broke up, and I didn't have any band for 3 or 4 years.
And you were just still in Bakersfield at that point?
Well, I had a girlfriend. She ended up breaking my heart, and I got suicidal thoughts and everything. So I moved. Nice. I moved to Hollywood to be with Fieldy and Monkeys.
Yeah.
So I basically was their roadie. And I didn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, how long did that go on for? A few years?
About 3 years.
And you were just like the roadie for that band, and what were they playing around Hollywood, or did you guys actually tour at all, or did that come later?
They never toured. They just played around LA area, like Riverside and Orange County, Hollywood, and the San Fernando Valley. They would just play like little shows, and they never really went anywhere. And when they parted ways with the singer, that's when they asked me to join. And by that time, it moved from Chili Peppers and all that to Nirvana came out, and Alice in Chains, and the grunge movement came out. And so music was evolving, and they asked me to join. And by that time, music, like Helmet and some of those bands had low tuning.
Yeah.
Well, they were into that, and Monkey found a 7-string guitar.
Wow.
And when I joined the band, was like right at the beginning when he started playing that. So I grabbed one, and then we formed Korn, and we got the Korn sound with those 7 strings.
Wow, that's interesting. And then, was Jonathan Davis in the picture at that point, or were you guys Korn and then he joined as a singer later?
No, we were just instrumental for like a few months, and we even played shows with no singer.
Really?
Yeah, it was funny, and and we didn't have nothing for probably a year, and then we found Jonathan in a band. We grew up in Bakersfield, right? He was still in Bakersfield, and he formed a band, and we saw his band one night, and me and Monkey went together and just ended up at the show, and we were like, it would be really cool to find someone like that. This guy it's like he had stage presence, he had a voice that stood out.
Sure.
And we got back and told the guys, and they said, let's call him and see if he wants to move to LA, because we had the LA story going for us. We had a producer, we had a manager from A&M Records that was managing us.
Really?
Without a singer. They were like, we want to work with you guys. So it was crazy. So
they
told
just
them,
knew that you guys obviously had the talent and they were willing to back it until you found a singer.
I don't know. I guess so, because they felt like we had a different sound because of the bass and the guitars and whatnot. It was just different.
Mm-hmm.
It was not like great at all. It was, I think they just heard something. And so Ross Robinson, the producer, was the guy that really liked it. He's like, keep in touch when you find a singer, you know. We talked to Jonathan, told him all these connections we had. He said no at first, and then next thing you know, we just said, you know, come try it. Come hang with us. And he came down and hung out, and that's when I realized he was that third grader. When we were kids, he was a grade below me. I was like, you're him. You're that kid. I know who you are. And
oh wow.
And
so you didn't put it together yet when you were seeing his band. You didn't realize that he was a kid from your school. Wow.
I had no idea that was him. And so and he had dreadlocks, and he just looked so cool on stage. He was just, you know, doing his Jonathan thing. So he joins our, you know, he jams with us and falls in love with the music, and then he starts talking to the A&M 2 managers we have, and they see him and they're like fired up because he's like way better than the old singer.
Okay.
And way better stage presence, and just he looked like a star. And so, and then he meets the producer's like tripping out over him, and it was meant to be, man. It was a moment in time that was meant to be.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And then once he's in the band, you guys obviously started, you know, doing stuff. Did you record a record kind of soon after that, or what was the next step for you once you had the, you know, full band?
We did a demo.
Okay.
And so the thing was, A&M Records was too. It was a part. They were doing another gig apart from A&M. They worked at A&M, but so they were like, we're going to pass it around to everybody we know in the Hollywood record scene, you know, and try to get these guys signed. And the demo was average, you know. You could hear Jonathan's voice, and how the thing was our live show. They told everybody, you have to see him live. You have to see him live. And so he just passed the demo around and got people to come out to our shows. There was a few that were really interested, but we didn't have an offer, and they were hesitant. And then we were told that sometimes you're a hot thing in Hollywood, and you're really hot, and if someone doesn't sign you, the excitement just goes away, you know?
Oh, sure.
So we got scared that we were kind of going over the hill and whatnot. Then we finally had a guy named Paul Pontius. He was coming to our shows secretly for like 5 shows, and he comes backstage to us one day, and he works for Immortal Records, which was under Epic Records.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And he says, I want to work with you guys, you know, and so that's what started it.
Wow. So then did he sign you guys to Immortal Records right away then, after seeing those shows?
Yeah, after, you know, lawyers take forever with contracts.
Of course.
Remember, I was like, I got a record deal. So I quit my job, and it took like months to finish the contracts. So I lived on like, I was couch hopping different couches and whatnot until I got some money. Because we got some money, like, I don't know, 20 grand each or something when we signed.
Like a signing bonus? Wow.
I mean, we got the record budget, so we got to record the record, and what was left over was like 20 grand each.
Whoa, that's amazing. So that was the first self-titled album that you guys got signed with?
Yep.
Wow. And then that record did amazing. Did they put you on the road like kind of right away, or had you ever played outside of California at that point?
Yeah, we went on the road right away. It was our first tour was House of Pain and Biohazard.
Oh wow, that's huge.
Yeah, hip hop and metal mix, you know, because I think by that time it was like Anthrax and Public Enemy were doing, you know, they had done something, and so Rage Against Machine was out, so there was a mixture, and so that House of Pain Biohazard tour was a cool tour, and we fit really well on it. We started getting some great response from that tour. And then after that tour, we got the Megadeth tour, which was 95, much bigger places. And then after that, we got the Aussie tour, which was arenas.
Whoa. Now that must have been like a, you know, huge moment for you growing up as a fan of Ozzy and Black Sabbath. I mean, What was that like?
Yeah, I followed Ozzy his whole career, and blown away is an understatement. You know, it's like, how does a kid in Bakersfield, California, who just, you know, make it to open for Ozzy? It's just, it doesn't make sense. My parents were like going, you know, because Ozzy was my everything during like about 81, 82. It was just Ozzy, Randy Rhoads. It was just everything to me. And so I remember we went gold on that tour, and Sharon and Ozzy came in our dressing room and gave us some expensive wine, and Sharon just predicted that we're gonna have a long career. You guys are gonna do very well, and so blown away, man.
Was she right? I mean, wow, that's so crazy. I mean, going gold still on the first record. I mean, that's such a huge thing. Like, usually it takes a band 2-3 albums before they can achieve that. That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much about it. I think, yeah, it might have been less than a year, but I want to say that we did 2 legs of Ozzy tour, so it might have been the second leg, you know, to where there was a tour and then we had break and then we came back on. So I don't know. I think it was within a year though we went gold. Yes,
but still,
so
wow.
It was pretty. Yeah, I mean, it just it was a perfect time in history with Rage Against the Machine came out, you know, and there was Nine Inch Nails and Manson and all this new type of music. And Korn kind of had the vibe of all those mixed together. It was like a little bit of the Nails thing. It was a little bit of the Rage thing. It was a little bit of the dark, the gothic thing with Manson. You know, it's like our fans were goth, but they weren't, and it's just weird. It's like and hip hop people like this too. So it was really cool, man. And we didn't really plan for it. We just were sponges and took in what we loved, which was all those different styles. You know?
Sure. And weren't you guys? You got nominated for a Grammy as well, right? For that first record.
Yes, I think so. Did we?
I think you did for Need To.
Wow.
I don't remember. Did you remember getting that? I was going to ask you if you remember getting the nomination or being asked to go to the Grammys. That must have been another like mind-blowing moment for you.
Wow, I don't remember that. The first record, it might have been. I'm going to look on Wikipedia.
I think it's for best metal. I'm looking on Wikipedia right now. It says later received Grammy nomination '97, best metal performance.
Yeah, that's insane. So our first record got a Grammy nom?
Yeah, it looks like it. Wikipedia has definitely screwed me over in the past. It tells you I interviewed Eric from Sublime, and it said that he was born in Alaska, and he's like, "What are you talking about?
Are you serious?"
Yeah.
I wonder if people just write that stuff to mess with people. That's great.
It was pretty funny, but yeah. So that's huge. And then obviously, were you guys worried when you put out Life is Peachy as far as like, is this record going to hold up? Like, you know, they always say the sophomore album is always the one. Like, are you guys going to have longevity, or is that was the first record up here and then it kind of went down? But I mean, obviously the next record still did very well. I was just curious if you guys were even thinking that way at that point.
Yep. Because everybody warned us. The record label put the pressure on us. They're like, sophomore jinx, is that what it's called?
Yeah, I think so.
But they were like a lot of people, you know, they spend years developing their first album, and then they only have 2 months or 4 months or 5 months to write and record the second album. So it was 100% stressful, but you know, we just drank our lives away, so it didn't matter. We just would drink and
sure,
try to come up with 4 songs, but we came up with some just signature stuff. Like that's some of that record is my least favorite, you know, as far as Korn's career, some of the songs, but some of them are iconic, like Twist.
Yeah,
iconic.
I mean, Adidas was on that album.
Yeah, Adidas broke through to MTV and whatnot, and it was
Uh-huh.
really like a melodic chorus and trippy video, and so yeah, it was, but it was definitely nerve-wracking to have that pressure to, you know, want to get to that next level with Korn.
Yeah. Was it exciting to have, you know, at that point, was that the first MTV experience you guys had?
Um, yes, 100%. I mean, well, no, they were playing our song "Blind" on Headbangers Ball real late at night, you
Oh,
know.
okay.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, I remember Rob from Machine Head. That's the first plug we got on MTV. He was on Headbangers Ball talking. He's like, "You got to listen to this band Korn. You got to check them out live. They're just unreal." And so they would play Blind. So that was really cool. And we were, to this day, we're friends with him because we never forget that. You know, that was
Right.
our first national TV plug. And so, but then when Adidas came out, it was getting played on regular rotation on MTV, which was
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Yeah, I remember seeing it all the time growing up on MTV.
Yeah, yeah. So that's when it just popped open, and then so we go away. We do Lollapalooza that year with Tool and Snoop Dogg and all these people, and,
Wow.
and then after that we have a long break, and it's like the Korn world is quiet, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone's waiting for us, and once we came back with some like more mainstream sounding music, you know, our management and label were able to just get a plan going with MTV, and you know, MTV was like, this band is just getting ready to explode, and all their fans are going to be glued to MTV, and you know, and so it was a big collaboration with all of us, you know, and there's other bands too, obviously, like the Limp Bizkits, the Blink 182s, the Eminems, the all that stuff, the pop music and whatever, but we were included in that, and it was pretty surreal, and it just exploded after that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I can imagine that being pretty surreal when you're, especially at that time, you have, like you said, Limp Bizkit, and then you also had all the new boy band pop artists coming through, the Britney Spears is, and then seeing you guys around the same, you know, level, or not level, but like within that same group of people, so to speak. It was just crazy to see the success that you guys had at that point.
I know, it was nuts. We didn't know we didn't know what the hell was going on. It was just like, get in the roller coaster and put on the seatbelt, you know?
Sure, sure. Were you guys headlining big tours at the point of when Follow the Leader came out?
Right. That's when we went to arenas.
Wow.
We were doing theaters, like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a couple 2 to 4,000 in theaters with you know, collaborating with Deftones or you know, bands like that. And so, but once Follow the Leader came out, it just exploded. Lollapalooza really lifted us up to another level, playing with Tool and getting that massive, you know, 10,000 plus audience every night. And then, so it just, and then we were getting a lot of MTV exposure then, because MTV News was there on most of the tour, or a lot of the tour anyway.
Oh, really?
And so we were getting a lot of interviews, and they were playing Adidas and whatnot. And so when it was just a perfect timing for Follow the Leader come out to put us in arenas, because there was so much buzz, you know.
What was it like doing the arena tour? Was that just totally, you know, I mean, you're going, theaters are still huge. I mean, but your arena is just massive. I can't imagine like going out, but I guess you already had experience playing arenas if you're opening it for Ozzy. Was it different as a headliner?
It was, man. It's just, you know, there's a love-hate with me going on last. It's like, yes, you're the biggest band and everyone's there to see you, but you run the risk of people, you know, drinking too much or getting tired, and you know, having work in the morning and going on late and all this stuff. So it's funny you asked that, because I think all of us liked the theaters best, because you're still intimate with the crowd. They're not too far away. In arenas, you're on this big platform and the crowd's like way down there, and
Yeah.
and there's so much like sound bouncing off the high ceiling and everything. It doesn't have the same vibe. But nowadays, since I use the ear
in-ears.
and whatnot, I don't, it doesn't matter where I'm at. You know, I prefer arenas now because it's there's better air conditioning.
Right, a little more space. Sure. Wow. I don't. This is actually, I've never asked anybody this. I just thought of it right now. Do you remember the first time that you were like asked, or how did you guys do like an encore? Like the first encore, was that like a weird moment?
Yeah, we never have been an encore band, man.
Okay.
Crazy, because we would debate about it, saying like, it's so cheesy, man. It's so cheesy. They want us so bad, but we don't do encores. You know, we would tell people in the press, like, we don't do encores. We give it our all, and then we're done. And then fans started getting mad, especially fans in different countries. They're like, it's disrespectful if you don't come back out, you know?
Oh, interesting.
So we had to do it. And to this day, we don't really love it. You know, it's because everybody expects it and they don't really cheer for it now. They're just like, okay.
Yeah, like, come back. We know you're going to come back and play 3 more songs. Yep. Yeah, it's I was just curious, like that must have been, yeah, like a weird thing. Like, okay, now we have to like all of a sudden come back, save some songs and come back out.
Yeah, it's like you want to be done, and then the crowd to like demand you back out with applause. You know, that's what the encores were meant for.
Mm-hmm.
That's all gone to shit now. unless you're like I think it's for the, you know, the younger bands get that, right?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting when bands start doing that. You're like, you never 5 years ago, and I saw you didn't do any encores. Now you're like, when's the moment when you're like, you know what, we need to start doing encores? But it's funny that you guys didn't like doing it at all. So it was just like a respect thing for when you were, you know, abroad touring.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And the next record, Issues, was the next record, which is another, you know, smash album. You had Falling Away From Me and a bunch of other hits, Someone on it, or Somebody Someone on it. Somebody Someone. Was that like, I mean, you were when you're at the peak there, just putting out a record like that and it still staying, you know, where it is, was that must have still been like another validating moment. Like, yeah, we're still doing exactly what we should be doing, right?
Yep. It was crazy because, you know, just writing Falling Away From Me, that first track on the album,
mm-hmm.
or it might have been second after that.
I think second. Yeah, there was like an intro in the beginning.
Yeah, so that song just exploding on MTV, and it was so controversial, and Fred Durst directed a really creepy, eerie video of, you know, just that girl getting beaten by her dad, and mm-hmm. and all the kids just saying no more, you know. It was crazy, really crazy video. I remember Busta Rhymes, the rapper, came to our show and he's like, man, only you white rock bands will get away from controversial stuff like that on MTV. But he was laughing. He's like, if I put out a video of a dude beating his daughter, I would get banned immediately.
Sure. Yeah, I didn't think about that. You guys actually, you put the video on and it was played like in heavy rotation.
It was a disturbing video, you know.
Yeah.
But it's real. It was real. That was the thing. Jonathan saying about real stuff, and that video was real. And so, yeah, that song really carried us to a high level. And then Someone was really good. Mm-hmm. A lot of airplay and whatnot. And so we rode that record until Untouchables, you know, mm-hmm. which is almost 20 years ago, and that was with Michael Beinhorn, mm-hmm. and a lot of us got divorced around that time, and a lot of difficult things went on with that album, and it was a dark time for Philly, for me, mm-hmm. for James got divorced, Monkey, and yeah, it was like we got so big that our egos couldn't handle it, and our girlfriends or wives didn't like it either. Sure. You know, like they're like, they knew they were getting cheated on, you know, and they, you know, deny it to the end was what we had to say. But they were caught in a circus, man,
Sure.
with
Yeah.
kids involved and whatnot. And
Mhm.
so it was just like,
Yeah, a lot there. Cause yeah. I mean, even through all that though, you guys still, prevail with a Grammy Award for best metal performance again, you know what I mean? Like you had the darkness, but then if you look at it like that way, I mean, you still had a huge, you know, a huge moment with the record as well.
yeah, totally. It was crazy. It came out on MTV again. It got played like massively, here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of success with that record, and people. It's crazy because each record was so different.
Mm-hmm.
It was like if you weren't a rock fan, it would all sound the same to you. But like I feel like as a musician and a fan of heavy music, every album had a different vibe, which was really
Definitely.
cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then after that record, that's when you left the band right after Untouchables.
No, we did one more record, Take a Look in the Mirror,
Oh, okay.
and that's when I left.
Okay. So you were on Take a Look in the Mirror.
Yes, and I was on meth. I Take a Look in the Mirror.
Oh my.
So I did the whole record. I remember for some reason Monkey didn't want to do the cover song of Another Brick in the Wall, and so as a meth head, I had to learn the solo for it. And so
Oh wow.
on the recording, it's not as smooth as it could have been because I was tweaking.
Oh wow. Yeah, sure.
But
Oh my gosh.
so yeah,
How
that record cycle came out, and that record is arguably our worst record ever in our whole career as far as sound wise. Like the drum tones, horrible. There's a couple cool moments though, like that song "Did My Time" came out.
Mm-hmm.
That, and we were on the soundtrack of Angelina Jolie's film. What was that, Tomb Raider or what, something?
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that must have been cool.
Yeah, so there were some high moments still.
Sure. You had Nas on one of the songs too. I love that you guys always incorporate like hip hop into your records as well.
It's weird because Limp Bizkit was more of like the
rap rock kind of.
Yeah,
band.
and more rap rock and more like party style,
Mm-hmm.
But we were like dark and gloomy,
Mm-hmm.
but yes, with hip hop a little bit, which
yeah, it's cool. I mean, you had Ice Cube on tracks before Nas. I mean, you always selected these dope rappers to join you guys. That's rad. Yeah. And then so at that point, that's when you left the band during, right after Look in the Mirror came out.
Yeah.
Okay. And did you start like pursuing solo? Like, is that when you started your solo career?
I just took time off for a while, but yeah, a little bit. I started writing and just wanted to know about who I was, my new life and whatnot. And I wanted to be a dad. I wanted to be stay at home every day dad. I just didn't care about any of that crap anymore, because it just demolished me, man. It brought me, that life and that industry brought me in and just chewed me up, spit me out. I was done. I fell into all the traps that it has, all the temptations,
Sure.
And I don't blame it on the industry. I blame it on myself. But there's a lot of things in your face that if you're not like a truly strong person and know who you are and know who you want to be, you see it all the time. You fall into it like immediately.
Yeah. No, I mean, as I have 4 years sober now. I can't imagine being in that position. Like you're just around everything. It's all at your, you could at any moment, you have all the money to do it. I mean, I can't imagine being in that position. I mean, the fact that you were able to get out of it and readjust what you were doing as far as your life went. And that's such an amazing, huge accomplishment.
Yeah. Totally. I'm just thankful, man. I'm very grateful that I was able to go through those weird, awkward years, but amazing years with my daughter. and learn about, spiritual life and what really matters,
Sure.
and finding just the gratefulness to want to live, to be the best version of myself I could be.
Yeah. And that's amazing. Like I said, that's such a big hurdle to overcome, and being able to do that. I mean, that's massive. I really respect that. I want to say, like, from there, like you said, you took some time off. What, like, musically, like during those times where you just you're like, you know what, I'm going to put this to the side. I'm not going to pursue this at all. When was the moment that you decided to get back involved with music?
I mean, I was actually working on it the whole time since when I left Korn, but I would put it aside, and I knew I wanted to go solo, but I didn't know what that would look like. And I knew I wanted to try some vocals, but I was scared to, and all this stuff. So it was like back and forth, wanting to, and then saying, screw this, I don't want to do this,
Sure.
And then I finally did it in 2008, started a record company, released my record through my own record company, partnered with Warner Music,
Wow.
New York City. I started signing bands, and then the market crashed in 2008, where the financial crisis hit America.
Oh, sure. With the housing market and everything fell out, and the banks.
It was everything, man, because everything got affected by that. And so I just lost everything, and my label went under, and I wrote my book around that time, and that was a good thing. But I got into a lot of trouble with loans and whatnot, couldn't pay back, and then and so, but I released my first record. It was okay. It did pretty good. It was an attempt to sing about what happened to me, my life change, and some of it's cringeworthy now, but some of it's really like authentic, and so then I did that for a while, and then I toured with some musicians with that record, and then I formed a band called Love and Death,
which we're going to talk about as well.
And so we, I mean, it's a long history. We can go another hour on just, leaving Korn, start Love and Death, going back to Korn, doing the,
sure.
But we did a Love and Death EP, then did a full record. Around that time, Korn asked me to come back in 2012, and it was their management had asked me to come back throughout the years, and I just kept, blowing them off, saying, no, I left that. I don't want to be in that machine. It's just too crazy. And when I saw, I had a day where I had a show that I went and saw the guys in Korn, and I just hung out with them. And that's when they called me. And after I like started relationship with them again, that was when it was like, wow, maybe this is meant to be, And so I released the Love and Death record at the same time where I was going back to Korn.
Oh, okay.
And I did some tours with Korn and Love and Death. I opened the shows, and I found out that was sucky and that's too much work.
I was going to say, that must have been hard, playing a show, singing and playing as your band, Love and Death, and then going back and then playing a whole probably 2-hour set with Korn.
Yeah. And then I went, so I just went full Korn and dropped Love and Death, and I didn't drop it. I was like, hopefully in a year or two we'll do another record, see what happens with that. Never could get it done. By that time, the producer Jason, he joined Breaking Benjamin.
Oh wow, cool.
And so he was just too busy. I was too busy. And then we recorded Paradigm Shift with Korn, Serenity of Suffering, and then The Nothing. And so the pandemic hit.
I was going to ask you where you were when that all happened.
We finished a tour with Breaking Benjamin March 1st, and the pandemic hit like a week and a half later. And so right at the beginning, kind of, or middle of the Nothing promo tours around the world and whatnot. And so all of that got scrapped, and pandemic happened. And so Love and Death was able to, regroup. Everyone's sitting at home, not doing much. So it was time to get on it.
Wow. Okay. So I remember that tour. You guys played here. I'm in San Diego. I remember you guys played in Chula Vista with Breaking Benjamin at the, did you play? Yeah. Sports, not the sports arena, but Sleep Train now. It's been like, it was Coors at one point. I don't know. I think it's called Sleep Train now.
Right?
Yeah, the big amphitheater down in Chula Vista.
Yeah, I love that place. It was.
Yeah,
And
that's
then,
cool.
dude, that is like, there's so much history there. Because Korn, when I was in my 20s, I would play there.
Wow.
It's been like forever. I remember Papa Roach. They had their. It was. I mean, yeah, '99 we played there with Papa Roach, man.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I used to go there as a kid. I mean, seeing like Blink play there and Green Day and like bands back in, you know, the late 90s would come through. Yep. And it's still there. I mean, it's still the biggest venue, I think, in San Diego.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it was just so we finished that tour and whatnot, and then we did the pandemic happened, finished Love and Death, and we grabbed Keith from Breaking Benjamin, the other guitar player, who was a freaking amazing songwriter and poetic lyricist and melody master, and he wrote he brought the rough idea of the verse and the chorus of the three, I think, most
three songs you have now.
You know, three best songs. You know, there's like five that are my favorite, and he had three of them, and he brought those with Joe Ricker, the co-producer, and him and Joe did those just rough ideas. They were like, "Do you like these?" And we were like, "Yes." Oh my gosh! And then we started writing on them, the riffs and everything, and we all put together these amazing, cool songs for this new Love and Death record. It comes out next Friday, February 12th.
Yeah.
An album release concert that we're streaming. So really cool stuff, man.
That's exciting. That's really exciting.
A song called "The Hunter" today.
Yeah, I was just listening to it, and you've got that's got Keith Wallen on it, right?
Yeah. I mean, that guy's voice is incredible, man.
Yeah, it's so cool. And is Ryan Hayes on the other song?
He's on White Flag, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And then you sing Down?
I sing Down, yeah. And JR Bar Ice, the guitar player, shares vocals with me on that too.
Very cool. And how did this record, like, how did you guys work on it? Was it all via like Zoom like this, or were you able to like, you know, seclude yourself for you know, quarantine and then get together in a studio? Like, how did the album kind of come together?
We worked a lot with writing like this over
like FaceTime or whatever, Zoom.
Yeah, FaceTime or email and text.
Oh wow.
The writing, and then we got together and recorded it.
Okay.
So it was a cool process. It was, you know, there's a couple challenges. You kind of butt heads a little bit with people here and there, but at the end of the day, everybody wants the best song and everybody respects each other's musicianship, and it was and it came out great. So we're stoked with it. You know, we'll see what it does, and I know that it's a lot better than the last record. That's all I know.
That's awesome. I love the three songs that I've heard so far. It's awesome. And I love the fact that you have different voices, and it's like, you know, a super group, so to speak, with all you guys, but you sing a song, and then, you know, Keith sings a song, and it's just, I love the feel of the album so far. Is that kind of how the rest of the record is going to be?
Yeah, there's trading vocals on throughout the whole record, which
awesome.
It was exactly you know, because I love like bands like Linkin Park and, you know, these bands that have vocalists, and I just think it keeps things interesting, you know. And I don't love singing. I like it. So I don't want to. If I loved it, I would want to do it all the time on every song, but I don't want to. I like doing the power screams and stuff like that. And but it's not really easy for me to sing. So I love having other collabs, and it just works really well. So.
Yeah, it sounds awesome. And yeah, the blend is so dope because it goes, like you said, it just offers such a different, you know, you have one voice and then another voice that's just constantly changing. I like it a lot.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Are you, with this live stream concert, you guys going to all play together and it's just going to stream online?
Yeah, we're gonna. It's just it's gonna play at. It starts at 7 on Friday the 12th, and then after that show, you can watch it, I think, on demand for 48 hours.
Rad. That's rad. Where are you guys doing the show at? Like, where are you going to be physically when you perform?
Nashville.
That's I'm moving there in 2 weeks.
No way.
Yeah. Are you currently in Nashville, if you don't mind me asking that?
I do California and Nashville. Yeah.
Wow, that's rad. So yeah, I'm in San Diego, and my whole family, we're all moving to Nashville like in 2 weeks. Like,
Why, you over California because of the governor?
pretty much. But aside from that, like our podcast is affiliated with American Songwriter magazine, and they're there. And what we're gonna build a studio there, and hopefully soon, like once vaccines are in place and everybody's safe, we'd love to do these things in person.
Rad, that's awesome, man. Good for you.
Thank you. So next time you're out in Nashville, once everything's set up, it would be great to have you in person.
Please let us know, man. That'd be cool. Yeah.
I would love to do that. That'd be so cool. That's awesome. So the show's going to be in Nashville. I love that. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
And then I want to ask you, because you brought up Alice in Chains earlier. You guys did that cover of Wood. Was that recently when that was recorded and shot? Because the video's dope. I mean, it's beautiful.
Isn't it cool? So we did a tour with Alice in 2019.
Okay.
It was our very first tour with Alice in Chains, and
oh, really? Ever? You never toured prior? Wow, that's really fascinating.
Dream come true. They're such a huge influence on us. There wouldn't be Korn without Alice, and bands like that. So we got to be friends with them, and a couple of the guys played songs with them, and our management company manages them. So
cool.
It was a thing where, do you guys want to do a cover? And I asked Jonathan's the main decider on things like that. Can you sing Lane style?
Right.
And he was like, yeah, I'll just do it my style. And so we went for it. And Wood is, thank God Wood was open, because that is my favorite Alice in Chains song of all time.
Oh, really? That's so rad. I was going to ask how you were able to decide on the song.
Yeah.
Was other people choose some first? You're like, but Wood would have made sense because that's your favorite.
Yeah. And then, so Metallica comes on at the last minute, and they want to be a part of it, which Alice loves. And they said, we want to do Wood. And they go, oh, Korn's done that already. And they said, that's okay, we're going to do. And they did an acoustic version of Wood. So it was like we were more in the beginning, they were more at the end. And it's cool because it worked, because they only did a little piece of it acoustically. And then they said, man, we love you guys, Alice, congratulations. And so it was really cool.
That's awesome. That is really cool. Well, dude, thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate your time. This has been so much fun. I thank you so much.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure. It was good to reminisce over all these years, man. So great. So grateful I still get to do this. So thank you. And I look forward to hearing more about your podcast and show you're doing. That's cool.
Thank you. I have one more question for you before I let you go, if that's cool. I just want to know if you have any advice to aspiring artists.
I would just say the biggest advice I could give is to just write. It's like working out. You don't get bigger, you don't get better unless you spend the time on your craft. So writing with other people too, whether it's your band members, or I found out that writing outside of your band members, even just collaborating with other people, really will hone in your skills. And so it's all about the songs, right? Like if you can be a best musician ever, if you don't have the songs, you won't grow, you won't, succeed in a way that you deserve to. So just don't stop writing, and just put the songs away, just stack them up, and you'll get better and better. And I would also say, if it's aspiring musicians trying to come up with a band and like start a new thing, try to find something that makes you stand out, that nobody has done, or maybe it's a older thing that someone has done back in the day. Like I remember Jonathan did bagpipes. It felt like we're the only ones doing bagpipes, but AC/DC did bagpipes back in the day. And it's like, so just things like that, little things that could get people. Oh, that's how you see that band, they played the bagpipes and if you come up with little niches like that, you can have your band like rise above the rest, stand out. So that's my advice.